All right, in this video, we're going to go through how to configure switching on GNS3 Etherswitch modules and using the VLAN database. So this video is for those of you that did not purchase VRL and do not have access to the viral or CML images. It's basically to get switching going on GNS3 for free. On this video, I'm going to show you how to create the Etherswitch router, which acts as a layer 3 switch. Then we're going to build a topology and ping some devices. And then we're also going to briefly look at the built-in layer 2 Etherswitch that comes with GNS3 by default. Just real quick, the requirements in order to follow along and do what I'm going to do in this lab, we're going to have GNS3 installed, which includes the GNS3 client application, VM Workstation Pro, and having the GNS3 VM integrated. We're also going to be using the exact 3725 iOS image that I have specified there. I do have another video about where to get these images. They are no longer downloadable by Cisco, but basically you can just find them on the internet by searching and being clever. There's numerous blogs and forums that have download links to all of the old Dynamips GNS3 images. All right, so now we're out here on GNS3, and the next step is going to be to create the Etherswitch router. So I'm going to go Edit, and then select Preferences. And we'll go down to this section here, Dynamips, iOS Routers, and I'm going to click on New. And I'm going to change this selection to run the iOS router on the GNS3 VM because it works better. And so like I previously stated, I'm going to be using this specific C3725 image. So I'm going to select that. And then on this screen, you have to select, this is an Etherswitch router. Notice it changed the name to Etherswitch Router. I'm going to click Next. And I'm also going to increase the default RAM to 256. And then when you tell it it's an Etherswitch router, it automatically selects these for you. You want to leave those the same. You can put a WIC in there, that doesn't matter. And then I'm going to use this idle PC finder function in order to get the value that you need. However, if this doesn't work, you can go find it on GNS3's website. I think if you were to search for idle PC finder, it's going to show you the page that has the idle PC values for the C3725. All right, so that took a little bit, but you can see that it did find a value for me. So I'm going to click OK and then Finish. And then I'm going to hit Apply and then OK. All right, and now when we go over here on the left, we can see that we have this Etherswitch router right here. And then as a next step, I'm going to build a topology with 2 of these Etherswitch routers. And then I'm also going to include a number of virtual PCs so that we can assign them IP addresses in a common VLAN and establish connectivity between them. First, I'm going to turn on the interface labels so that you guys can see what interfaces are connected to what and get it going the same way. Also, I do have View Snap to Grid selected, so that's how I'm able to get them all evenly spaced and exactly level with each other. And then when you drag on the VPS, this is going to be the virtual PC. Or VPCS, excuse me. You want to select the GNS3 VM right here. Click OK. And then each time you drag one on, it's going to ask you, and I'm always going to put everything on the GNS3 VM. All right, now I'm going to use the connector tool to connect all the devices. And then note that the virtual PCs only have one port, but there's many options on the Etherswitch routers. So when you're rebuilding this, just make sure that you're doing the same interfaces that I have. So that way the configuration that I provide works the exact same way. All right, so now that we've got that created, I'm going to click on the green Start button and get all the nodes started. And then the next step is going to be opening up the console for all the devices. All right, so now we've got all of the consoles pulled over and I have all of the configuration prepared in my Notepad++. And so now we're just going to get to configuring. And so on these virtual PCs, this is the command you use to assign an IP address. Then you just hit enter, checks for a duplicate, and then assigns it. All right, then the next configuration that I have is going to be to configure the VLAN database. And so configuring VLANs in the VLAN database is a little bit different than on normal Cisco devices. And the way that you do it is you first enter the VLAN database command. And then notice how it takes you into the VLAN database mode. Then you configure the VLAN. We're going to go VLAN 10. Then you can see that it added that. And then in order to write to the database, you put in the command apply. And then in order to see what VLANs you have in the VLAN database, you use the command show current. And then you can see that VLAN 10 is in there. And then in order to exit VLAN database mode, you hit abort, which then takes you out of the VLAN database. All right, then the next bit of config that I have here is going to configure 2 access ports and then 1 trunk port. So basically, the link between the 2 Etherswitch routers is going to be a trunk port, and then it's going to be access ports to all of the virtual PCs. So I'm just going to cut and paste this in. And you can see we did get one notification here that this port has become a trunk port. And then in order to make sure that we have the VLAN created correctly, we can use the show VLAN switch brief command. And you can see that we have the VLAN 10 and it is active on the 2 ports that we want it to be active on. And then I will also put an IP address on the interface for VLAN 10. All right, so now we're going to basically just cut and paste all of that configuration in on Etherswitch Router 2. So we went and created the VLAN. Now configuring the interfaces. And also we can see that we have VLAN 10 on the correct interfaces here. Create the IP address on VLAN 10. And because we did change the ports to trunk ports between the 2 Etherswitch routers, I am going to shut that port on each of them and then no shut. And then just to confirm that the trunking is working between the 2 Etherswitch routers, we can use the command show interface trunking. And we can see that trunking is on its 802.1q trunking on Fast Ethernet 1.1. And then the same thing on Etherswitch 1. Okay, so now can we ping? So as a first step, we'll see if Etherswitch 1 can ping its own IP address, which it can. And then we are going to see if it can ping over to the other one, which it might not be able to at first. All right, so it basically had to broadcast out ARP, and that's why it skipped that first one. You get a period there, but then it found it. Etherswitch 2 can ping itself, and it can ping Etherswitch 1, so that's good. And then let's start pinging all of these PCs. So, all right, so it was able to ping 1, and then 2, 3, and then 4. All right, so now let's go to so you can see that both the Ether switches can ping all of the virtual PCs. And now let's test the PCs. All right, so now you can see that PC1 has full connectivity to all the devices. I'm going to assume that the rest of the PCs would also test positive for everything, but you can go through and make sure yourself. And the last thing we're going to take a look at here is the built-in layer 2 Ether switch that they give you in GNS3. If you click on the switch category right here, it is going to be this one. It's just labeled Ether switch. We'll drag and drop one on, put it on the GNS3 VM as always. Now, I'm not going to connect this like I did with all the other ones, but I'm just going to right click and go on configure and just show you what you can do with this. So as you can see right here, ports, there's 8 ports, 0 through 7. They all have VLAN 1 and they're all by default configured as access. Now you can change this, or you can create new ports. You could create a new port with VLAN 10 and click add, and then it'll add that new one down there. Or you can change an existing port. If you want to change 0 and make it 10, and then also make it a .1Q trunk, you can do this and click add, but what it'll actually do is just change it right there to be 10. Then you can change 1 and make it an access port that carries VLAN 10, just like that. And then you can hit apply, which actually saves the changes that you made, and then click OK. All right, so that's going to wrap up this video. Hopefully that was good enough to get you started with the Etherswitch routers and the layer 2 Etherswitch that they give you in GNS3 by default. You guys should definitely check out the rest of the GNS3 labs for CCNA. And if you found this helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one.